Good morning everyone, Sarah here at Three Little Potters, and I have another kiln opening for you. I'm going to be honest, I did a sneak peek last night when I got home and all was not well in the kiln. It looks like what happened was that triplet chameleon glaze that I was so excited about, I missed putting in some colorant. So in my defense, it wasn't listed on the actual recipe part. It was, however, listed in the fine print over here. So yeah, that was a mistake I made. So I'm gonna have 3 pieces in this kiln opening that are basically completely clear glaze. So I'm hoping that I can figure out a way to get that glaze to re-stick and that it'll be good. So here's the first shelf, and this was supposed to have a really cool matte glaze that has all kinds of variation in it, and instead it's completely clear, but that's okay. So yes, clear glaze. That's okay. I'm hoping that because it's got so much texture that I'll be able to actually reglaze it at some point if it's even worth doing. I'm gonna set that one on the ground, I guess. All right, here is my watercolor pot. I think that might be how it fits together. Okay. So a large testing jar. All right, let's pull some things. I wonder if my kiln went too hot. That is Spectrum's new Tiger's Eye over Studio White, and a couple things here. I wish I'd gone all the way to the top with that, and I wish it hadn't have run. That's okay, I can sand that one. Okay, so this is June Purple over that new glaze I mixed, which is Chun Celadon, and I think it's layering really well. I really like this color. Textured kiwi. It's pretty. This is bougainvillea with a little bit of sunrise over top. Randy's Purple and Chun's Seafoam. And it looks like, so sometimes when Randy's Purple is thin, it goes kind of blue, and I wanted it to stay purple, but in doing so, I think I should have wiped that bottom a little bit better. It's an easy grind, it's just, I wish I'd done that a little better. This is interesting reaction right there. Okay, this is Desert Dusk with Mayco's Tiger's Eye. I keep trying to use Desert Dusk and I keep not loving it. I'm not sure what I need to do. So the crystals are in Desert Dusk are a little bit raised up, and I want them to be flat. I don't know. It might be a glaze that only works well on mushrooms. It's funny, I've seen so many combos with this, these 2 glazes online that look really great, but for me it just seems like, I don't know, I think the Desert Dusk doesn't run enough for me, or maybe it needs a lot thicker coat over top. All right, what else do we have here? Okay, so I believe this one has Chun Seafoam, a little bit of Chun Celadon, and a little bit of the new running hot chowder. So I haven't used running hot chowder before, so it's kind of interesting what it does to the color. It's definitely changing Chun-Si foam quite a bit and has a lot of interesting movement to it, so that'll be fun to try out. Texture Kiwi, Spectrum Glaze, Nimbus over Studio White by Mayco, Purple Aster over Studio White, Birch, Cordovan, and Light Flux, in that order. June Purple and Autumn Purple. June Purple is a mixed glaze and Autumn Purple is by Spectrum. Chun Celadon and Autumn Purple. So this is that new glaze and I'm really interested in the variation here. It just, not only is it showing some phase separation, it's also showing some different colors than I would expect to come out of those glazes. So might be something in the future that layering will look good with. This is Nimbus over Studio White, and I don't know, maybe too cool. I've got some issues, slight blisters almost. I think it possibly didn't get hot enough right there. That one will probably be just a direct refire and that'll be fixed. The Speckled Blues over Studio White with a little bit of snow on the rim. Dirty snow. Ooh. Okay, this vase is all the pinks. This is, I sort of did a video coming up this coming week about this, and so this is all of the pink glazes that I own on one vase. And I'm not going to go through all the combos right now because it's a lot, but I will post a video about that later on. And this is my purple glaze vase. You see I've got one little spot right here. But otherwise pretty. I feel like Autumn Purple is maybe the one that didn't go as purple. Interesting. And here is the bottom half of my teapot. Hold on, let's see if the lid's right here. All right, there we have it. My teapot from the 10-minute teapot challenge, glazed in shallot, bougainvillea, sunrise. A little bit of dots of shallot there. And then the bougainvillea was just kind of one band right here over Studio White. So I guess I'll be able to see if it actually works. I feel like that's the knob is too far from the handle to make that a comfortable pour. Ugh, what is this? Oh no. All right, well, that's seaweed over a standard 266. I'm used to using seaweed with white underneath of it, and I think it could have benefited from some white underneath of it in that case too. Maybe refire that one. I don't know, it's not horrible, it's just like brown. Okay. This was a straight refire. I was reading that some red, coppery red glazes can look better if you refire them, and it did nothing to it. So I don't see that that is any redder or any different at all. I tried to do a leaf print in the middle of this using a technique that clearly did not work. So this is waterfall brown with a EPK titanium wash in the center. And that is actually on speckled buff. Speckled buff? No, just speckled B-mix. Sorry. Sang de Boeuf over white. Sang de Boeuf is a glaze by Laguna. Rose quartz over white. Autumn purple over white. Kimchi over white. Bougainvillea. It's very close in look to raspberry mist if you were looking at the two together. Bougainvillea and raspberry mist, both of which are over white right here. Tiger's eye over white with a tiny spot of crawl right there. That might have been me putting it on rather thickly and wetly. So put that in the refire pile. I believe this is June purple with a running hot chowder, and I think I will pass on this combo in the future. It just kind of goes yellowish. Mayco's Ivy over my Hanson Night Glaze. This is interesting. I'm looking at this and surprised at how this is behaving. This is Spectrum's new Ginger Glaze, and I believe I have Autumn Purple on the rim here. So, unexpected. It's kind of some real pinks and blues in there. That has some potential. Coyote's Amethyst by itself, with 3 coats here in the center, so. Chun Seafoam over white. All right, look at that. My frozen pond stuff worked. Well, this one in the middle isn't frozen pond, but that one less so, but this one's really good. And I love this one too. Yay. I'm so excited that that frozen pond technique actually worked for me. I really wasn't sure what to expect. Here it is. This is my night glaze with floating blue and then running hot chowder. And I'm going to go into next week. You can expect a bigger video for me on the frozen pond technique and what I did for each of these plates. So, all right, this is running hot chowder overnight with Chun Seafoam over top. I'm really excited to see that the that this technique works with some mixed glazes as well. I was afraid that I was going to have to buy more obsidian glaze. And this was sort of my backup. This was Dirty Snow as a modifier and all mixed glazes. But this one really doesn't have that sort of effect that running hot chowder does. So it's pretty, it's just not quite the same. I do like this plate though, and I liked the sort of organic shape to it. So that's sort of a new style of making for me. And it didn't warp like crazy. I sometimes have a trouble with that. And I think it's largely because I make my slabs too thin. And I think if your slab is really thin, then it has more of a tendency to dry weirdly. I'm not sure. Okay, let's pull some more. This is Night with Chansi foam and a little bit of chanceladon at the top. This was a refire. This is, originally it was Studio Gray with some bits of dried Chansi foam over top. My refire, I coated it with floating blue and I did some dots of running hot chowder. So you can see where the running hot chowder is even just sort of by itself plopped on. It has that really nice effect to it. And this is Desert Sunset over Studio White with cranberry stain in it. I still have some of that glaze that I mixed up that I am getting rid of. June Purple with Chansi foam. Kimchi over white. Bailey's 2 red that I refired, and it still looks just brown. Nothing exciting happening there. It's not that it's bad. I mean, it's a pretty brown. It's just not quite what I was hoping for. And here we have floating blue, a little bit of dirty snow over Night. These are interesting. Okay, so this was an experiment. I wanted the base glaze that is very iron rich to be a little bit blacker. So I took a little teeny bit of cobalt and added it to that base glaze, and it's definitely gone from sort of a yellow brown to a more black, and the variegation is really pretty there. So it's sort of an oil spot glaze effect with the runny iron rich glaze underneath and then a very thick glaze on top of that. I did 2 of those. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. I think this is the same glaze without the cobalt. So needs a little, I think this might have been a thicker application looking at that edge of thickness. So I think maybe the thicker application is letting it bubble through the top glaze a little bit more. So I might try messing with this recipe a little bit more, but I do like it this way quite a lot, so that might be just enough. So my teapot down here is another victim of the triplet chameleon glaze that I forgot the colorant on, so it ended up being a clear glaze. Hopefully I can figure out how to fix that. And here's my frozen pond technique with seaweed over top. A few interesting things in here. It looks like the frozen pond technique on a bowl is very hard to sort of get the shapes to stay, but it worked well on the bigger piece, so. All right, let's pull this last shelf. I think the seaweed looks really good over the running hot chowder. So this is only 1 coat of seaweed because I liked sort of seeing the black come through, but I think I probably could have gone 2 coats of seaweed for a subtler effect. I'm not sure, but I definitely do think that my decision about how far apart to make the running hot chowder spots was probably great. So And Bailey's Red 2 did not work on my Iron Rich clay either. So it's just brown. It's just brown. And here is my poor clear teapot. I hope I can refire it. Refires are so hard. It's so hard to get the glaze to stick in a meaningful way. So when it's gone completely clear like this, it's going to be a real struggle to see if I can refire it. I know I may have to try to coat it in glue and then see if I can get some glaze to stick that way. But yeah, once the clay is vitrified, it's really hard to get that to kind of sit in there. I put some more shallot over top of this bowl that was a little bit too matte in finish. And that shallot is really doing something interesting in the middle. The original is winter wood with chuncy foam, and now it had the additional coat of shallot. Shallot is one of those Spectrum new floating glazes. The triplet chameleon cup that is clear. Down over there. This was a shallot refire over Morning Glory. It needs, I think maybe, it's not crawled there, it just could use a little bit more glaze. I tried refiring this one with more floating sunset in the middle, and clearly not enough to make much of an effect. That's the trouble with refires. A lot of the times they really just don't look like anything new has happened. And this was a refire too. It had shallot over it and made no difference whatsoever. Yeah, that's not great, is it? That was Heath ATV Ivory, and still nothing good out of that Heath ATV Ivory. So I tried to do a few frozen pond ring dishes, but I think with the shape of the bowl, it just kind of ran together so that you don't really have the definition anymore. So running hot chowder and chun seafoam on this one, running hot chowder and seaweed on that one. This was Dirty Snow and Floating Blue. That is Dirty Snow and Floating Blue. You can kind of see it a little bit in the center there, but it's not as pronounced as the shapes on the larger pieces. And this is seaweed here. I think that running hot chowder and seaweed really have a interesting pattern that forms. This was a refire. I put a little bit of Mayco's Tiger's Eye along the top of this, which was green tea over honey clear. We'd had a few problems around that rim, and those seemed to have healed up, so that was great. Tiger's Eye. Oh, here's our spearmint test. All right, our spearmint test looks pretty good. Okay, so the base glaze, and you can see it here, which is our underwhelming spearmint. The center has Chun Celadon over spearmint, and then these edges are Strontium Crystal Magic, and it's got some nice sort of fingers to it. I like that the The transparency of the chun celadon makes it look kind of like it's pooling, like a, you know, water or something. Spearmint, the color is still not great, but it's kind of maybe a good underglaze. I don't know. I do like that dish though, so maybe there's some hope for it. This is seltzer chun with chun celadon. This is seaweed over studio white. Desert sunset, a refire to cover a little bit of a crawl where I put it on too thickly, and that is fixed. Papaya with shallot. This was night with Louisiana Bio. And it's really, really subtle. I was thinking that was going to come out a little bit darker, but it definitely, a little bit more blue to it, but it definitely didn't. And then here we have Floating Sunset with Heath A2V Ivory, and I think I'm just going to give up on the A2V glaze because that is kiln load number 2 with very bad results for that glaze, so I think that's a go. So yeah, I think this was a great kiln opening, and all in all, despite the triplet chameleon glaze debacle and the Bailey's Red 2 still being brown, and the frozen palm plates are really awesome, so I'm excited to put together a video about how I made those. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching.